Please welcome multi-award winning director Cary Joji Fukunaga. For bringing James Bond to the big screen one last time. 007 himself. It's Mr. Daniel Craig. To the world premiere, adding her incredible writing talents to No Time to Die, the brilliant Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Agent Paloma, please welcome the fantastic Armas. Returning as Moneypenny, please welcome to the world premiere, the brilliant Naomie Harris.
First.
It's your first. What is it like when you get the call going, we'd love you to be in a James Bond film?
Pretty surreal, to be honest. I mean, I got...
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the world premiere, the brilliant Rami Malek! So, to take you back, tell me what it's like when you get the call asking if you'll be in a James Bond movie.
I was super excited. It had been a couple of months of me flying back and forth from Copenhagen to London, not really knowing if I was in or out. But then when I finally got the call,
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
It's fantastic. I cannot wait to see it. And lovely to speak to you. Enjoy the world premiere. Kind of, I'd say, you've done so much. This is something like a big deal.
I know. Oh, come on. It's the biggest film.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, reprising his role as Bill Tanner, please welcome multi-award winning actor Rory. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the world premiere, the incredibly talented producer of No Time to Die, Barbara Broccoli. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying my
an incredible amount of humanity to the role, a very nuanced, conflicted, complex, layered character, And I think he raised the bar very high to be very hard to follow him.
And every good Bond needs a good nemesis.
It is.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, these films are meant to be seen, you know, with strangers in a dark room, in the theatre, when you were on set and getting into this character, when you're imagining all the different else.
So loud here, everyone.
People are so excited.
So many people.
My question again.
Oh, I'm just relieved. I mean, you know, MGM and Universal held their nerve, and we're getting to see it in the cinema, and that's what we make Bond movies for. I would give too much away. I can't tell you anything. I'm sorry. It's a massive collaborative effort, creative collaborative effort that there's nothing else like it in the movie business. Barbara Broccoli runs a family business. We're all a member of that family. We look out for each other, and I will miss that the most. I don't know. I want them to see it. I'm nervous as hell about showing it to people because it's a lot of work gone into it, but I'm incredibly proud of it. So we'll see. I don't know. So many. It's ridiculous. I've been trying to think of one. People ask me that a lot, and it's just like impossible. It's impossible.
Oh yeah, the character really changed, and No Time to Die is right after Spectre. So it's right after Spectre, but you'll see that this time Madeleine is more like, in a way, accessible. We have access to her vulnerability, and that is something very new, I think, because it's the first time that we see a female character, you know, not only through a male perspective, but like just as a complex woman, and we get to understand her, and there's that scene at the beginning of the film with her mother, and then we understand that she's like James Bond, she's damaged like him, so it makes us understand more the relationship they have and what they share and what they have in common. That was very sad. That was sad, but at the same time, you know, we really wanted to give like everything, like the best we could. Like we really tried to make the most like stunning film, and you'll see tonight. It's very special. It's unexpected, and I really hope that fans, you know, will respond to that film. So we have that scene at the beginning, and we see Madeleine as a young girl with her mother, and there's Safin, and Safin is an important character in her life, but I can't reveal more than that. But you'll understand why. But it's true that Safin and Madeleine are connected. Yeah, for me he's the greatest, and he's really like the James Bond of my generation. The first time I went to the cinema to see a James Bond film was Casino Royale, and I think what he did with the character is just he made him more human in a way, and a more complex character with paradoxes and flaws and imperfections, and that's I think why the audience can really relate to him, because he's more human in a way.
Oh, come on. I mean, part of cinematic history. This is one of the backbones of British film history, if not, you know, film history as a whole. So for me, I mean, I could not be more grateful than to go toe-to-toe with my favorite Bond in Daniel. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It really is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And to now be able to share this with the world after all this time is something I'm elated about. I've been walking down this carpet, and people have been saying, "Ooh, he's got a little extra kick in his step," and how could you not? It's Bond. Well, I think it's important not to look at all the previous Bond villains and try to kind of make some amalgamation of them. I thought about what Bond is to the world right now, what Daniel's done, how he's created this emotional depth that's so relatable that we really care about. So in one way, this film comes off as a love story. I've heard Daniel actually say that, so I thought, well, you can't have a love story with a lot of broken hearts. I mean, come on, you're talking about one of the best actors in the business. I'll go out and say it, that the guy deserves all the recognition from the awards groups in the world, because there's a certain documentary you can see called Being James Bond, and if you see the effort he's put into it, you will recognize the dedication, the commitment, and the I guess exhaustive nature of what it takes to be Bond. And what I love about Daniel is there's a very fine line that I now see between Bond and Craig, and that's because they are two of the most consummate leaders you could ever ask for.
Well, you know, usually I get quite tense about doing this kind of thing, and I find it quite exhausting, and I'm quite shy, I suppose, but today I feel just really happy to be here and seeing you and everybody, and seeing the actors and seeing the crew and everyone who made these films. It's lovely. It's always really special, always a little scary, because, you know, the bar is set very high each time, and you want to exceed it, you want to go further. But also I think something that's happened is because we all know each other, I mean the actors now, quite well, so we have that ease and that rapport, and that's a real joy. Well, I guess in the first film that I did as Q, Skyfall, he was quite cocky, quite arrogant, and I think that's been knocked out of him a little bit now, because he's he's a bit longer in the game, and some of that arrogance and cocksureness is not so present anymore. But it's quite nice. I've enjoyed that. It was really fun. And I'm really thrilled that it's there. It's only a little glimpse, but I hope that fans enjoy it. What makes him such a special Bond? He's just everything that you could want, isn't he? He's sort of magnetic and dangerous and unpredictable and wicked and funny and everything. Yeah, and I think also real, like, you know, like a real person, I think. He makes him a real human.
Oh, it's super exciting. You know, the first day of shooting, I felt that I was stepping into film history, not only a set, you know, but I had my first scene alongside Daniel Craig, and I've seen him in all the other films, and all of a sudden I'm there with him. It was a meta experience, all of a sudden, me being inside of that franchise. I can't tell you that much without giving away, but we know that he's a Russian scientist. So that's me, and he gets kidnapped early on in the film, and it's troublesome for the poor fellow. You know, it's not great to be kidnapped. Not for this guy. The scene was that I had to do some running, which was very comfortable because I mean anyone can run, acting or no acting. So I just oozed easily into the franchise. So I wasn't too conflicted or troubled by just having to do a bit of running and being a bit fatigued. Oh, I think he is the best one. I mean, he brings it into modern day age. He I think already from Casino Royale, he made his emotion. He was vulnerable. He was sensitive. I think the female parts were relevant and they had real emotions. So he was hurtful, just like any person would be. And I think bringing that in and bringing all the action and all the physical work that he put into the role just made it super modern and contemporary and relevant.
Well, I guess some people saying it's like a family might not be a good thing. So it is a wonderfully warm experience. Yeah, I mean, get on so well with them, and obviously a lot of them are quite busy, and so I don't see them as much as I would like to. And so just be able to have a few hours on set each day, catching up with who's doing what children's lives are doing, yeah, and then there's the on-set stuff as well. But actually, in some ways, we now sort of know our characters and relationships so well over the course of the last 3 or 4 films that that is so much sort of easier. That sort of the relationships and the camaraderie sort of I think finds its way onto screen. I haven't seen it yet. I might be talking out my. Well, he's still sort of he's still plugging away. He's very much an MI6 man through and through, and he'll do anything for them. Similarly to Bond, really, but I guess less athletically. Yeah, if there's a report that needs filing or something that needs typing up, he'll do that with us 110%. I think just seeing the way that he's sort of grown into it, and the authority and the kindness with which he conducts himself, with which he creates this atmosphere, the sort of spirit of togetherness that he shows and that he implements into an on-set life. I know there must be a lot of stress dealing with the sort of the weight of expectation that comes with James Bond, but in terms of being on set with someone, it's an incredibly easy and relaxed environment that he set up. Well, I guess part of that is the heritage and the history, and not only the popularity of the books, but then obviously the popularity of the film. But each time it has to adapt and change, and it has to modify to how the world is shifting and changing. And I think particularly over the last few films, that's really been the case with Daniel's Bond. How they've understood that where he sits in a changing world, and how he tries to modify himself, as well as us trying to reflect that sort of sense of, is he being left behind by society? Well, I think it's just as... I mean, there's obviously the excitement and the fun and the adventures and thrills and spills of all the James Bond films, as well as the heart and the journey, and that sense of a finality of saying goodbye to Daniel's Bond. But also, I think, just to get back into cinemas, going to see like these big films which are made exclusively to be shown in these big cinemas. Every frame of it is about making sure that it looks beautiful on a big screen. So I'm sure people are absolutely dying to get back in and watch them.
I mean, exciting doesn't really seem to sum it up well enough, but relieved, excited, bittersweet, a lot of different things going on. Well, it kind of happened in the middle of a meeting I was already having with Barbara and Michael. So Michael just turned to me at one point in the middle of a story brainstorm and said, "So you want to do this? You want to direct it?" And I said, "Yes." And here we are. Well, first you sort of you see headlights, and then you kind of gather yourself, figure out kind of where the story's been, where it's been going, where we can take it, and we knew we were starting from because of how Spectre ended, and then we went from there. Well, that was in Jamaica. We had just done an event at the Fleming house, Goldeneye. So it was we were steeped, in the Fleming Bond world by that point, and I think I felt ready. I was like, okay, we're doing this, and everyone was ready. They haven't had before. I mean, everything in here we try to do in a fresh way. We try to keep it, surprising, and there's all the things that you'd want in a Bond film and more, but can't say too much.
Well, I had a meeting with Barbara and Michael and Cary, and I'd heard that Daniel had asked Barbara to get in touch with me, so that was hugely exciting. I read the script, went in, and the script was already brilliant, and I went in and we talked about it and how it could evolve, what they wanted from it, and then I had a meeting with Daniel and Barbara, and it was really the early meetings with Daniel that I had to discuss Bond and where he wanted to take him, and his psychology and what was important to him about these films. That was an incredible highlight and a real privilege to be there with him, just like scribbling down everything, going, I'll try and get it in. Yeah, this is Bond. Well, I tell you, it was hugely complimentary, and it also was indicative of what I was excited, of the reason I was excited to get involved, because Daniel said he liked Fleabag and Killing Eve, and if those are the things that brought him in, then I was like, okay, he's going to want it to be like a little bit twisted, but it to have real character nuance, which is what I really care about, character development, and that's everything that he really wanted, and Cary as well. So I got to really play with these characters, and you know, I love Bond. I've always loved Bond, and particularly Daniel. So I can't. It still feels very surreal to me, but it was an amazing experience.
Oh, fantastic. It's been so long. We waited so long. We held out for the cinema opening, and finally the world's going to see it. Just wonderful. We're so excited.
Oh my goodness, we started 4 or 5 years ago, I think. I mean, it was it took a long time to come up with the development of it, and then shooting it, and then finishing it, and then of course waiting 18 months till now. So I think it's been like 5 years, something like that. No, not really, because, you know, at the end of Spectre, Daniel said he didn't want to do any more, and then we convinced him to do one more. So once we knew that it was his last one, we kind of threw everything at it. We decided we'd just make the best film ever. Service, you know, very important in Daniel's films. Sacrifice, personal service and sacrifice, you know, that's why we're also celebrating here not just the fictional hero, but all the real life heroes, the people that work in, you know, all the services, and the people who have kept us safe all these for these 18 months.
I think they're going to love it. I think they're going to think it's a fantastic film, and it's really one of the great films in the series, Bond series. They'll love it.
Come on, it's Bond, James Bond. It is singular. There is no other film, there's no other anything. I mean, I've done 3 Batmans, I've done Supermans, I've done Wonder Woman, but Bond beats them all. Bond beats them all. Plus, this whole crew, just the you know, the integrity with which they go at this movie. You know, there's a reason it's been around for this long, because you're dealing with very smart and very and people who just really respect what they're doing. And you know, to be asked is such an honor, and to not ruin it is an even bigger honor. Well, Barbara's a very old friend of mine, so it actually surprised me, because I never thought we would do that. But then I got to make a call. I phoned Johnny Marr and I said, look, Johnny, if there's one theme that a guitar should play in a movie, what is it? And he goes, Bond. I'm going, yawn. It started off with me going, I really like that Billie Eilish song, and everybody going, we're not so sure if it fits. And I'm going, of course you're not sure, they haven't seen the movie. Get them on a plane. And so literally, I mean, the way I remember it, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like I said the words, the next thing, you know, the whole family's in the cutting room watching the movie. We're in a studio, you know, Steve Lipson, our co-producer, everybody's in there, and it all works. You know, and Daniel was very involved, which was very important. I mean, it was very important to me, because I understand what it's like to, you know, people think, oh, it's 5 movies, or it's, you know, in my case, like 3 Batman movies. It's not. It was 12 years of my life. I don't know how many years of Daniel's life it is. And so there is a responsibility that comes with it. And you want to go and treat it with great dignity and with great respect. And when I saw it, maybe I got a bit soppy. Without a doubt, it's the most iconic character anybody has ever written for. I mean, here's the amazing thing. How do you keep a character like that timeless? You know, and that's very much Michael and Barbara, who, with huge wisdom and amazing intelligence, have managed to keep this character timeless and let him move with the world and not become just adjunct to what is going on in our world. In fact, this movie in many ways is more it's more relevant than ever, without giving anything away.
Well, the script is where you begin, and so that's always the great fun bit, is opening the first page and thinking, oh, where are we going this time? So it's all script driven always. Sometimes it just depends. I mean, sometimes you have to really go out and find people. It's a very difficult question to answer. I mean, I always think I do have a good idea of who I want, but then obviously it's persuading the director that that's who he should be having. And you know, things have changed so much on this film, so you had to really kind of keep on your toes and, you know, roll with the punches and all the rest of it, because you just, some days you didn't know what was going to happen, and so, you know, you just have to be very alert and aware and be very up for changing at the last minute. The kind of clue on this one was that they wanted somebody kind of, how can I say this without sounding very, they wanted to go a bit younger for one thing, and just somebody kind of slightly out of the ordinary. And you know, Rami was very kind of a, you know, not really that well known at the time. It was just as Bohemian Rhapsody was coming about. And so I think we were really lucky to get him, because he's fantastic in the film. Well, because he's taken it into a whole different direction. He's taken it much more seriously. He's been so kind of physical, and he's such a presence on screen. And, you know, he took it very seriously.
It's the best feeling in the world, actually, to get this movie. It was a childhood dream, anyway, so and I never imagined in my lifetime I would get to do a Bond, because it's such a close-knit family, so I loved it. I absolutely loved it. No, not at all. I just worked closely with the actors and with Cary, our director, to develop the characters, but anything beyond that, it's not my responsibility. Action, enjoyment. It's a very modern, relevant movie of today. Strong women. It's good. That's what they take away from that, hopefully. I think because Daniel's got that tough, kick-ass, if I could say that, approach to the film. It's a really strong action movie, so he's kind of left all of the Lothario character away and just taken on an action hero. I think that's why it works.